It's been so hot in the garage. This block was sitting on top of this little spray cap, and because it's so hot in here, so much pressure built up, and it actually made an indention into this plastic garden table thing. That was kind of crazy. Can't believe it's that hot out today. Alright, so it's the next day, another really hot day today. It's so hot you could like cut the air right now with a knife. But either way, this thing is dry and it's a lot heavier now. So the next step really is just to tape off these edges here, which will kind of be easier said than done because this thing weighs a lot more now. And we want to make sure the tape actually kind of makes a good seal on each side. So I'm going to work on that, and then we'll start pouring some concrete into the middle here. Alright, so that was a little bit easier than I thought. I was able to kind of use the weight of the actual piece to kind of just keep dragging the same piece of tape all the way around. So these layers you see here is one piece of tape, just kept going all the way around. And like I talked about in that last video about like tension, tautness, and height, kind of use that same kind of thought process here by using that single piece of tape. And as you can see, it's like maybe about a ½ inch above this concrete line here. So we're not going to need that much, we just need enough to really cover the lips of the quarter pipes. So I have about a ½ inch height of tape, and then that goes all the way around. So I used one piece, just kind of wrapping it neatly around the corners, kind of maintaining the same, I guess not really, trying to maintain the same height around the whole thing, but just kind of wrapped it around, and that's going to be kind of our barrier for our concrete. And hopefully did catch where I pinched the corners here. That'll just kind of make the final piece a little bit more like aesthetically pleasing. Just kind of have those corners nice and sharp. So we're about ready to pour some concrete. The first thing we got to do though is put some Level Quick primer onto this actual concrete block so that everything sticks and kind of comes together. And when you apply this on concrete, you got to water it down about 1/3. If you use it on wood, you can just go straight up, but if you use it on concrete, you got to water it down. There's our water. And then, what is it, 1/3 primer water, so just a little bit of this. It's probably honestly too much. put it on with a brush today because I don't have a roller. So I'm just gonna brush this on here, and this is gonna create a nice waterproof barrier so our concrete bonds and sticks to this concrete. And this concrete, I gotta say, is pretty porous. This is just one of those garden blocks that I got from Lowe's. As you all saw in the beginning of the video, it only costed, I think, $2.50, $3. It was less than $5. And obviously it could be a higher quality concrete, but it's just meant for something to throw in the yard. So I figured it'd be the perfect base to do this on. And I think it's gonna turn out pretty cool. It's pretty simple, there's not really a ton of steps here. So just make sure you have your piece nicely coated in this. And I'm gonna put a little bit on the edges of these quarter pipes here, just because I know we're gonna run some concrete up to the edges of these. And be generous with this stuff. It does work really, really good. And you're better off having too much than not enough. I'm just gonna make sure I have really all these corners covered. So I really wanna make sure that concrete bonds. All right, that's pretty much all the surfaces here. So now we're just gonna give this a little bit of time to dry. Real quick, a word from our sponsor, me. If you want to support this channel and help me keep building, head over to anxietyoffline.com. I've got a whole lineup of concrete obstacles, fingerboard supplies, and now even my own fingerboard decks. Remember though, these aren't just obstacles. Each one is unique, one of a kind, and hand detailed to look like a real life miniature street spot. If you're looking to add something unique, functional, and collectible to your fingerboard park or your obstacle library, check out my site and see what catches your eye. Thank you so much for the support. Now back to the build. Alright, looks pretty good, definitely pretty smooth. I did leave some up there. I figured I'll let it get like maybe halfway dry and then just sand that off. But so far, pretty happy with it. Looks kind of how I pictured. Definitely pretty easy, so let's just hope it dries like we're expecting to. Right, so it really hasn't been that long, only about an hour or so, but I did some sanding, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this tape off because the concrete is still pretty pliable right now, but it's holding its shape, as you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and just take the tape off there because this edge right now is really pliable, and I do want to smooth that out, so we'll just make things easier and do it now. So this edge here, I kind of want to be grindable, and I figure I want to sand it down and then paint it yellow. Here's a close-up look at everything. You can see I got those quarters nice and joined level with that concrete. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and do this side as well, because why not? The concrete is still like not all the way dry, so I'm going very, very easy with that sandpaper and just kind of smoothing out that edge. But now that it's nice and smooth, I'm going to wet it down one more time, give it one more wet sand, and then let everything dry really good and cure. Alright, so it's pretty much finished drying, and here it is. It actually came out pretty cool. This is exactly what I envisioned. I wish I made these blocks, you know, an inch shorter so it would match the quarter pipe totally, but I figure we can build a cool little street spot. You know, at least paint that curb, and make it look kind of cool. So either way, I wanted to show y'all kind of the process, and so it's actually super easy. So if you want a half pipe for your backyard or for an outdoor spot or anywhere it's going to be outdoors 24/7, this is a great option, especially because you can move it. It's not terribly heavy. You can take it inside or go store it inside if you want to, but I think I'm going to put it out on my cinder block spot that I built a few videos ago. I think this one's going to live permanently outside. I like the dimensions a lot of it. I'm excited to sesh it, get some clips on it, but either way, let's get this curb painted up, and then it'll be a step closer to being finished. so I'm sure y'all saw the way I taped that off was a little bit stupid. I didn't intend to do this whole side. I wanted to do just like a curved stripe, but I got some overspray on it, so I figured I'll just do the whole side instead. And here's how it looks. It looks pretty cool. I'm deciding whether I should put clear coat on it or not at this point. All right, y'all, that was another super fun project to work on. And I really gotta say, I have a lot of faith in how durable this one is. As long as it doesn't get knocked over, I think it could easily survive the next 1,000 years or a zombie apocalypse. I didn't get more footage with it because a couple days after I finished it, I took it to Boards and Brews 7 and actually sold it there. It is way too heavy to ship, so taking it to an in-person event was the best way to gauge interest. And it sold pretty quick, which was awesome to see. Here's a few pictures of it in its brand new home. Shout out to Mako FB for copying it. I appreciate your support, homie. Thank you so much. And I gotta say, this half pipe looks absolutely awesome in its new home. It accents this habitat perfectly, and I love the tree stump base. It just looks so perfect. If you're local and you want to commission one, definitely feel free to shoot me a message. If you're not though, I'm working on a kit that'll include 2 raw quarter pipes at a discounted price. All you need to do is grab the patio block, some adhesive, and some concrete, and then you can follow this tutorial and make your own. I'm also toying around with the idea of including a small portion of concrete. That way you don't have to go and buy a full bag. Since it really doesn't take much to finish this project once you have the main parts. That's still in the works though, so stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a comment, leave a like, and subscribe. Each interaction helps with this channel way more than you know. I upload new fingerboard content every single week, so check out that backlog for a whole bunch of tutorials, edits, and reviews. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Peace.